Okay, so hello to people joining now and to those of you who might be joining the recording. So in today's session, we're going to need our yoga mat. We're going to also need a bolster, a yoga bolster, which you can see kind of how big it is, the one I have, but we can make our own. So you might want to maybe use a couple of pillows, or you could do a couple of pillows and like wrap a blanket or a towel around to kind of make it into the more of a shape like this. And we're going to really work with the how the bolsters can support our practice today. And you might also want a folded blanket or a cushion to go under your head. Okay, so yeah, getting what you need before we begin. So feel free to press pause if you need to. Just remembering that everything we do within these sessions need to always be pain and strain free. So never pushing into discomfort. Using your breath as your guide. So really noticing how your breath feels. If you notice you are holding your breath and hoping for the exercise to be over, or your breathing suddenly feels like you're going over speed bumps, then it might be that you're pushing a little too hard. But what we want is our breath to be nice and rhythmic and steady. And that's a really lovely guide in terms of level of intensity. Okay, so let's take our bolster, so whatever you're using as your bolster, and bring it in front. Okay, so I'm taking my knees wide. Okay, and we're going to go into a child's pose, but we're going to like hug our bolster. Okay, so we're leaning forward. We're folding forwards and we're bringing our hands around our bolster, and we can take one cheek, so maybe taking your right cheek onto the top of your bolster and just noticing, if it feels like, oh, that's quite hard work, you might want to add more. So you might add another cushion or another pillow, whatever you need, because this is meant to be a very relaxing posture. So we're kind of hugging our bolster, leaning forwards. Our knees are wide, our bottoms reaching back towards our heels. And if it's comfortable for you, closing the eyes down, or just having a soft gaze, just allowing yourself to just settle in. Noticing maybe for a moment your breath as it breathes your body. So not changing the breath, just noticing it flowing in and out of the body. And then can we maybe take the attention to the back of the body? Can you take your breath into the back of the body now? So breathing the breath into the back of the ribs. And then gently changing sides. So then bringing your left cheek to rest on the top of your bolster. Still bringing the breath into the back of the body here. So really allowing yourself to be held by the support of the floor and the bolster. Really cultivating that sense of safety. And in doing that, we're going to really help the nervous system to down regulate, to come out of that fight or flight into more of a rest and digest state. So that's going to support tissue healing. Good. And then let's just gently release the hands forward. So just reaching the hands forwards. You might want to walk the fingertips forwards. Maybe bring your fingertips, like you come up onto your fingertips, almost like you're doing lizard claws. So just stretching through the armpits, and our head can come, just so that our head, neck and spine are in alignment. So I'm facing down towards my bolster as I reach my arms forward, just stretching through the armpit and through the sides of the body there. And then gently coming up. And we're just going to bring the bolster a little bit in front of us so it's not in our way. We're just going to come to an all fours position, so like a tabletop position here. So our hands can be directly under our shoulders, our knees under our hips. And we're going to come into a little cat and cow posture, okay? So we're going to inhale. And we're going to let our pelvis tilt down. So we're gently arching the back and looking up. Exhale, arch the back as your head gently comes down. Inhale, tilt the pelvis forwards, gently look up. Exhale, gently arching the back and our head drops down. So the movement when we do this cat-cow starts in your pelvis. So there's that tilt of the pelvis, and then there's an undulation of movement through each of the vertebrae. So your head and neck are the last thing to move. So here we're just really waking up the spine. We're bringing the breath. So imagine this is called cat and cow. So as we inhale, it's like a cow smelling the daisies. And as we exhale, it's like a hissing cat arching the back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And then let's come back to neutral. And from here, let's bring the bolster in front of you. So it's coming across your mat now. Okay, and we're going to reach forward. So we're going to be up on our knees still. Our knees are hip width apart. Bringing your elbows to rest onto the bolster, and maybe bringing your forehead down towards the bolster. So your forehead is resting on the bolster. And again, we're going to get that nice stretch through the armpits here. So the spine stays nice and long. The forehead is supported. Good. That looks good. Stretching through. And then if you want to add a little bit of extra challenge, you might want to bring your fingertips to your shoulders. Just see what's available to you today and really ensure that you're not causing yourself any strain. Check what your breathing is doing. That's going to deepen the stretch through the armpits. Keep breathing, taking your breath into that space in the armpits as you breathe in. Exhale, release. Good, and then gently coming out of that posture and coming into sitting. So you might want to straddle your bolster for a moment. This is very much an ode to the bolster today. So getting yourself comfortable in sitting. So I'm sat either side. And again, like if you've got sore knees, you might want to add more so that you're higher up. You might want to sit yourself on a chair, just wherever you're going to be comfortable. Okay, so let's bring our fingertips to our shoulders, and we're just going to gently circle the shoulders in one direction. So we're just loosening up through the shoulders. And those circles can get bigger and bigger as your tissues warm up. Clicking in the shoulders. I don't know if you can hear my clicky shoulders, but it's really okay to have clicking as long as it's not accompanied with pain. And then let's go the other way. Good, and release that down. Let's come into the neck. So let's drop the shoulder, drop your chin to your chest. Inhale here. Exhale, roll your right ear to your right shoulder. So just make sure your shoulders are back and down. Inhaling there. Exhale, roll your chin back to the chest. Inhale. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Good. Inhaling. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale here. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Inhaling. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Good. Inhaling there. Exhale, chin to chest. Good. Inhale, come back to center again, looking forwards. And this time we're going to work it into those deep muscles in the neck. So they're the muscles that really help our neck posture. So it stops us coming into that kind of poking chin posture. So I like to do these regularly. If these ones could be done daily, it would really make a big difference. So we're going to put the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Fingertip to your chin. Inhale here. And as you exhale, tuck the chin backwards. Holding it there. Keep breathing. And release it off. Good. Let's do one more. Inhale. Tongue to the roof of the mouth. Fingertip to the chin. Tuck back. Good. And then release out, and we'll do one more. Inhaling. Exhale, tongue to the roof of the mouth, fingertip to chin, purely tucking back. Don't let the chin go down. Don't let it go up. Keep your eyes at eye level. Good, and then releasing it off. Good. So we've given some nice relief to the neck. We're going to do a little twist now, okay? So we're going to inhale together, reach the hands up towards the ceiling, draw the shoulders down, okay? And then we're going to gently bring your right hand behind you and your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Keep the length in your spine as you gently turn to your right. And when we're here, breathing into the sides of your ribs. So imagining your ribs are like wings of a bird. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Good. And then gently coming back to center, inhaling. Can we imagine we are pulling on ropes that are hanging down by our sides? So we're just going to stretch through one side and then the other. Stretch. Imagine you're pulling yourself up a rope. Reach and pull, reach and pull. Good. And then let's do the same on the other side. So we inhale, exhale, shoulders reach, like draw down, and then your left hand onto the outside of your, just behind you, sorry, on the left side, your right hand onto the outside of the left knee. Think about lengthening through your spine so you're not collapsing here as we gently twist to look over the left shoulder. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing into the sides of the ribs again. This is a lovely detox for the organs and the internal organs, flushing all the stale blood out. And then as we come back, we can imagine all that fresh blood flushing in. It's a really nice thing to be doing. All right, so from here, we're going to come back. We're going to use our bolster again. So we're going to bring the bolster this time a little bit onto the right side of your mat. Okay, and then we're going to take a nice step forward with your left leg. Okay, and so we're going to come into a little bit of a lunge, and you can use the bolster, if you can see in the video, I'm going to use the bolster underneath my right hip a little bit there. So can you see that? You can tuck it in. So we're going to we'll make sure that we're not overstretching through the left knee here. The left knee stays at 90 degrees. And what do we need underneath our right hip to support the right hip? And then you maybe could bring your hands onto your bolster. So you can maybe see from this way, I'm like that. Yeah? So we've brought the floor up to meet us. Really nice. So depending on your level of flexibility here, like this might be well enough. You might think, yeah, done. That's stretching through the front of my left thigh beautifully. I'm going to stay there. If you've got more space and you want to stretch more, you might want to come down onto your forearms. But you just listen into your body. And wherever you're at today is absolutely perfect, and there's no need to push the body, okay? But getting some stretching through the front of the body, those hip flexors, is really good. If we're spending a lot of time sitting, you know, being in a car, sitting in chairs, these areas can get really tight. So it's really nice to spend some time stretching out the front of the hip. Just making sure that you're not taking any strain anywhere. Good. Good, and then gently come out. So just reaching up, and then we can just do a little bit of circling. So just circling a little bit into that right hip. Circling. So we're just loosening off there. Good, and then we can do the same on the other side. So this time we're putting the bolster a little bit on the left side of the mat, taking a nice step forwards with the right leg this time. Keeping your right knee stacked directly over your right ankle. Having your bolster in at your hip crease on the left side. And again, like, do you need to put extra pillows underneath on top of your bolster? What do you need to make this feel like a nice place to be? A deep stretch is good. Pain? No, we don't want pain. Good. So we're stretching through. If you wanted to sit coming down on the forearms, that's a good thing to try as well. Breathing here. Good, and then gently coming out, and we can come up and just do our little circles with our hips here. So we're just circling, we're leaning forwards onto our bolster and circling in one direction and circling in the other, and that's just going to loosen the hip joint off. Really nice. Good. All right, so let's come to sit on our bottoms, but I want you to think about what you might need underneath your bottom when you sit down. Okay, we're going to have the legs wide. And we're going to put bolster in front of us. So you might really want to lift the hips up. Okay, so noticing if there's a nice curve in your lower back. So if you notice your back is flat in the lower back, or you're rounding the spine, then just see what you need. Do you need to lift your bottom further off the floor? That's really fine. We're going to have the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. And we're going to have a little go at leaning forwards towards our bolster. Now, I really don't have a lot of flexibility in my hamstrings at the minute. And so I'm not going to be coming right down to my bolster, which I can if I round my spine. Yes, I can go there, but that's not what we're looking to do here. We're wanting to tilt forwards from the hips. We want to keep the spine nice and long. So the bolster's there as like a nice way of bringing the floor up to meet you. And it might be that you kind of just creep your hands a little bit further forwards as you tilt forwards on the pelvis. And hopefully you can feel a nice stretch in the inner thighs and in the hamstrings as we stretch there. Good. Breathing here. So we can breathe the breath into the tight areas, the tight tissues. The in-breath as we exhale. That's the releasing part of the breath where you might get a little bit more movement. But keep that spine long. Keep just tilting, pivoting from the hips. Good. And then gently releasing to come back to sit. Good. So here we are. We're going to do a little side bend. So we're going to inhale, reach up the left arm up to the ceiling, and then as we exhale, maybe just reaching up and over towards your right toes. Keeping that top elbow kind of facing up towards the ceiling, so keeping an openness through the front of the chest, and that right hand might come on to kind of edge its way down the leg. But keeping that openness is really nice. We're not collapsing like this. We're kind of just thinking, okay, maybe I don't go so far, but I'm going to keep really good form here. Good. And then coming back up gently, and the left hand coming down the left leg as we inhale the right arm up and exhale over. So trying not to collapse and round forward. Keep that right elbow open towards the ceiling. Good. And then inhaling as we come back up. Good. Let's roll the shoulders back. And forwards. Really nice. Good. Let's put the bolster to one side now, so we don't need that for a minute. We're going to do a little bit of work into the core. So whilst we're on the floor, let's pop something under our head. So it could be a cushion, folded blanket, and we're going to do some work into the abdominal muscles. So that's our core there. Okay, so coming to lie on your back, the knees are bent, so the feet are flat on the floor, hip width apart. And check that your head, neck and spine are nicely in alignment here. Good. And once we're here, let's just work a little bit into the core. So we're going to inhale together. Exhale, gently draw your belly button back towards the spine. Gently pull it up on the pelvic floor as if to stop yourself peeing mid-flow. Hold that now. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release and let everything be soft. So it's really important to be able to let the core totally soften and let go. Let's do that again. Inhale. Exhale, belly button back towards the spine, pulling up on the pelvic floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and soften off. Let everything be soft. And then let's do one more. Inhaling, nice breath in. Exhale, belly button draws back towards the spine. Pull up on the pelvic floor again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Well done. So hopefully the core is feeling nice and woken up now. And then we're going to come to our little challenge. So we're going to have our knees at 90 degrees, our hips at 90 degrees. Now, if this feels really hard work for you to maintain this, you might want to just do one leg at a time up, okay, and work on one leg at a time. Okay, but if this feels comfortable, what we're wanting to do is always keep the spine in that nice neutral position. So you've got a little curve there. Okay, we're not flattening the spine into the floor. We're not overly arching. There's just a little curve. Okay, so we're going to move on the out breath. We're going to engage the core on the out breath. So let's inhale together. Exhale, engage your core as your right heel taps to the floor. Inhale, once that foot's down. Soft core. Exhale, engage the core again to bring that leg back up. Inhale, soft core. Inhale, exhale, engage the core, right heel taps down this time. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, engage the core again to bring that leg back up. Good. Inhale, soft core. Exhale, engage, a left heel to tap down. Inhale there. Exhale, engage the core to bring that leg back up. Good. Inhale. Exhale, soft core, right heel taps. Inhale, soft core at the bottom. Exhale, engage the core to come back up. Well done. One more. Inhaling. Exhale, left heel taps. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, engage to come back up. And then the right, the last one. Inhale. Exhale to tap. Inhale to soften. Exhale, engage to bring that leg back up. And then let's straighten the legs, straighten the arms above you. And then shake, 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 shake that all out. Shake, 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 shake. Shake, 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 shake. Shake the body as if you're shaking the muscles off of the bones. Woo. And then release. Good. And then shake when the feet reach the floor. Keep shaking the legs. So we're going to be loosening through the hip flexors there. And release. Really nice. Well done. Okay, so let's now take our right ankle and put it on top of our left knee. And if it's difficult, we're going to be lifting up the left knee towards the chest. Now, if that feels difficult, you might want to pop a strap or something behind your left thigh. If you can take hold of the back of the leg, then we're going to be just hugging it in. We're going to be stretching the muscles in the buttocks, the glutes, the piriformis here. Keep your right ankle at 90 degrees. That's going to really help to isolate the piriformis muscle. Good. Breathing here. Good. It's a stubborn muscle, so it's good to stay here a little while. Wiggling your jaw, releasing tension you may be holding in your jaw. Having a yawn is always good as well. That always seems to come with a jaw wiggle. So that's really helping the nervous system to down-regulate, come into more of a relaxed state. And then release that leg down and let's change sides. So this time putting the outside of your left ankle on top of your right knee, hugging your right knee in towards you or popping a strap behind that right thigh. Left ankle is at 90 degrees here. Good, and then releasing it off. Really nice. Let's take your left knee and hug it into your chest and circle that, not chest, into your left armpit, left knee to left armpit, circling the toes in one direction. So we're getting into the ankle a little bit here. And then the other way. And then release down. Let's take the right knee to right armpit and again circle in one direction. And then the other. Good. And then release. Let's just do a little bit of work into the shoulders here. So I'd like you to take your arms into a cactus shape by your side. So the back of the arms are connecting in with the floor. And I'd like you to go from having your arms in a cactus shape to having them in a diamond shape. So I'll just show you how that looks like this. So it's from a cactus shape to a diamond shape, but keeping your arms connected to the floor as you do this, okay? So this is going to help work into the front of the chest, but also the strength into the shoulder blades area as well. Good. Good. And one more. And then releasing down. Really nice. Okay, rolling onto your side now. We're going to do a little bit of work in side lying. So whatever you've got under your head, doubling it up is really good here. So again, you're keeping your head, neck and spine in alignment. The spine is nice and long, and you can have your knees bent and your knees and ankles are like on top of each other, stacked like that. Okay, and we're going to come into a clamshell. Okay, so we're going to inhale, take the top knee up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, lower that knee towards the other one again. So inhaling to lift. Exhale to lower. And it's a nice thing when you lower to engage your core. So you're really taking care of your spine here. Inhale up, exhale down. And if you wanted to add a challenge, you might want to lift your lower ankle up. So you keep the lower knee to the floor, but your left foot is lifted. So you could be doing this from this kind of a position. So just see what's right for you today, either keeping that lower leg completely on the floor and the feet connected, or do you want to lift that lower foot up, but keeping the knee bent? Good, and then releasing. And then let's straighten that top leg. All right, and we're going to lift the top leg towards the ceiling, and then exhale, lower it down with control. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lower with control. Inhale. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more, inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And then stack your knees on top of each other and give yourself a lovely rub. Really nice. And then let's turn over. So you can now just turn over onto the other side. I will flip over so that you can still see me. All right, so let's do our clamshell legs on this side. So just check that your head, neck and spine are in alignment. Keeping our feet connected, inhaling. Top knee rises. Exhale, lower. Inhale, top knee rising. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. And again, remembering that you can raise that lower foot up. If you want to bring more challenge into this exercise, make sure you engage your core here to keep your spine safe. So just doing what's right for you today, what's available to you. Good. And then straightening that top leg. Inhale, lift that leg towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower with control. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower with control. Inhaling, lifting. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let's do 2 more, but take rest if you need. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good. And then releasing, stacking the legs, giving yourself a lovely rub outside that hip. Good. Really, really nice. Okay, so let's come back. We're going to come back to our tabletop position here. So we're back to all fours. Okay. And we're just going to do a little bit of work here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to inhale. We're going to tuck the knee in and the forehead in. And as we exhale, we're just going to gently kick the right leg back and look up. Good. Inhale, tuck right knee to forehead. Forehead tucks in. Exhale, gently kick back. Good. Inhale, tucking in. Exhale, reaching back. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Let's bring that leg down. We'll do the same on the other side. Left leg tucks in. Inhale. Head tucks in. Exhale, kick back. Inhale, tuck in. Exhale, kick back. Inhale, tuck in. Exhale, kick back. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do 1 more, but take rest if you need. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to gently come back and take your time to come into standing. So no rush at all. Make sure that you make space around you so you're not going to fall over or anything. When I come to standing, I might need to change my camera position. Okay. So we're going to just finish with a couple of standing poses to just work on the balance a little bit. Okay. So from here, we're going to ground down through your left foot. So I want you to really think about stretching your toes, the left toes. So maybe you want to put your 5th toe down, then your 4th, then your 3rd, then your 2nd, then your big. They tend to move as one unit, but it's really nice to give them that time to like spread out onto the mat. Okay, imagine you're growing roots that go deep down into the ground and then wide here. And then we're going to lift up the right leg. So if your balance is feeling challenged, maybe have a chair or something to hold on to, something nearby that you need. There's not going to mean that your posture changes. So just get yourself somewhere where you can support a good posture. Good. And now that might feel enough. If you wanted to, you might want to reach the arms above the head, but just see what's available to you. And if you wanted to add any more challenge, you might want to see what happens if you start circling the arms. So again, there is a kind of a level for everybody. Circling them in one direction and circling them in the other if you're working with that. You could also have the hands just in front of the heart like this in a prayer position, or we could be holding on, you know. I like to think of having like piano fingers. So it might be that it's just the fingertips resting and then release it off. Good, well done. Shake that out. That's challenging for both the legs. Then let's ground down through the right foot this time, so creating space between each toe. So 5th toe, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, big. Creating that space. Ground down through the foot. Tuck your right hip in. And then again, we're going to lift up with the left leg. So do you need something to support you in front, the side? If you want to, you can bring the hands into a prayer position, engage your core, belly button draws back towards the spine. If that's easy, you want to add more challenge, you can bring the arms above the head. You might even want to circle them in one direction and circle them in the other. Wherever you are is where you're meant to be today, and we can work on this each week. And then shake that out. Shake, 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 shake. Really nice. And we're going to come now to the short end of the mat, okay? And we're going to do our tightrope walking, okay? Because it's a really good one for balance, okay? And getting that feedback from the feet, from the joints about where your body is in space. So I want you to imagine you're on a tightrope. So you're keeping your feet on the mat, but you're just putting one foot in front of the other and walking along your mat. Okay, so seeing if you can stay really tight to the edge of the mat here, turning around. But if it's available to you, walking backwards as well, keeping the feet connected, seeing if you can keep that nice length through your spine. Good. So we're just really like in getting that lovely feeling sense coming through the feet. I'm wobbling today. Good. And then coming back to the center of your mat again. Good. Let's take the feet a little bit wider. I want you to just soften through the arms, shake out the arms, bouncing through the knees, bounce, 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 shake, shake, shake. This is really good for the nervous system, just releasing tension, shaking it out, having a good old sigh. Letting cares and worries out of you. Good. And honestly, if you have got, you're doing this in the recording, you're on mute, like have a good old shout sometimes, let us, whatever, it's all good. And letting sound out can really release emotions. Ooh, get it going. Good. Really, really nice. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Come now into our resting pose. So make sure you're warm. Okay. Make sure that your head, neck, and spine are supported. I love to put a sheepskin on my mat. That gives me lots of nice coziness. And bring in the bolster that you made and pop that under your knees. I'll just show you what that looks like. So you can have that under your knees. That's going to support your lower back. Yeah. Just wait until you're all cozy. It's nice sometimes, if it's comfortable for you, to put something over your eye area so you're blocking out all light. That can help us to drop into a relaxation quicker. So once you're comfortable, just inviting you to absolutely let go of all efforts. Really see if you can let all your muscles completely relax. Let them be held by the support of whatever you're using, cushions, blankets, bolsters, pillows. Let that hold you so that you feel like you can completely let go because you're completely held. Take a moment to notice if you're still holding any tension in the forehead. So just releasing any furrows in the brow right now. Releasing the jaw, maybe one final wiggle of the jaw. Yawning if that comes. Releasing the hands if they're feeling that they're clenching into a fist, just letting them be soft. Releasing the core, the pelvic floor, the buttocks. We can hold a lot of tension in the buttocks, the glutes. So just really seeing if it can have a sense of your pelvis softening and widening. Maybe thinking about your spine, just bring your attention to your spine. Can your spine like widen and soften? Maybe imagining it kind of widening as wide as your mat, and you're just really allowing yourself to take up more space on the mat. Letting the feet fall away from each other. And for in yoga, this is the place, this is the time when we absorb the effects of our practice into every healthy cell in the body. This is the most important pose in a yoga practice. But sometimes the most challenging. So just bringing curiosity to the practice. And let's take a moment to come back to the senses. So taking a moment to maybe swallow. What can you taste in your mouth right now? And to the sense of smell. What can you smell? What smells are arriving at your nostrils? To the sense of hearing. So what sounds are arriving? From inside the room and maybe from also outside the room. To the sense of touch now. So just feeling what's connecting, what's making contact with your body. So maybe feeling the contact between the body and the floor. Maybe your clothes touching your body. And then let's bring some movement into the body. Wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers. Just really gently bringing movement back into the body. There's no rush. Stretching and yawning as you may do after a deep sleep. And when you're ready, rolling onto your most comfortable side. And again, when you're there, just taking a couple of nice sighing breaths in through the nose, sighing out through the mouth, in through the nose, sighing out through the mouth. Good. And when you're ready, gently coming up into a seated position, again, where you're comfortable, where your hips are higher than your knees. And let's just bring our hands gently in front of the heart into a prayer position, so the shoulders gently come back and down, and bowing your head to your heart if this is something that's comfortable for you. And just taking a moment to really send gratitude to yourself for making the effort to come and get on your mat today, for this precious time for self-care, this time for moving the body, connecting in with your breath, and hopefully time to connect with your inner self. And I really thank you all for sharing your practice and wishing you a really beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Here we go. Go gently, drink plenty of water.